Yo, welcome back to the Further Your Lifestyle podcast, conversations on lifestyle, passions, and hustles. My name's Chris Furlong. I am your host, and I'm super excited to be back here having the conversation with you. Episode 74 today, and today what we're diving into is the whole topic around why is it that we think that people that are ahead of us are more successful than us? And they might be, or they may not be either. But it is a bad mentality to have. It's a bad mindset to have that we're so focused on people being ahead of us and thinking that they're more successful than us. Well, I want to say to you, the worst thing that you can do is compare yourself to someone else, right? And I've done a whole episode on this. We've spoken about it before. If you want to further your life, you need to stop comparing yourself to other people and only compare yourself to yourself. Think about a year ago. Think about what you were doing, where you were, everything that was going on. Now compare it to now. How far have you come? What have you done? What have you achieved? What has changed? Has it been growth? Now, if nothing's changed, well, that's on you, mate. It's got nothing to do with anyone else. But if you have changed, reflect on that. See how far you've come. And you can reflect and see that where there has been changes, where there has been growth, and where you have been able to get further into your life. So ask yourself this. What did you do? What got you to where you are today when you reflect back to a year ago? What were the steps you took? And that is why you've been able to get to where you are today. Those were the steps that you took. It is the same for those that we feel that are ahead of us. They're taking steps daily. They're doing things that is enabling them to move forward. They're not necessarily ahead of you. They're just moving forward, right? And they might be moving forward quicker, or maybe you're just going slower, or maybe you're not doing anything. You might have had an earlier start than you. And we're not here to talk about comparing and all that jazz, but what we're actually going to be talking about is, why do people ahead of us always seem to be so much more successful? And maybe dive into what are some of the things that we can be doing to help us get a little bit further, whether it's to feel more successful or just to actually get that growth and that progression. And there are so many ways that we can do this. There's so many right and wrong ways that we can do this. Some ways will work best for you and some won't. And some of these you might already know, and some of these you probably already have the answers to and know that you can do this. And from doing that little exercise that we just did, hopefully there is already some clarifications going into this episode that maybe you just need to calm down, stop comparing, and just keep doing what you're doing. But if you still think there's some other things that maybe that can help you get ahead, let's buckle up and dive in. So here are some other reasons why other people or people may be ahead of you, or they come across as more successful than you. But don't get me wrong, you are successful. You do you get your things done, you'll be successful. So this is what they do. They prioritize education over entertainment. This one's very straightforward. If you've got 2 hours to spend, are you going to spend 2 hours on Netflix, or are you going to spend an hour doing some educational stuff, listening, learning, watching, reading, or are you going to spend it all doing that? It's a balance. I'm not saying you need to stop watching Netflix and just do educational stuff. What I'm saying is if you want to grow, if you want to learn, you need to be taking in things that are going to enable you to grow and learn. So it becomes their prioritization. You need to read things, you need to take notes, and you need to share it. There's one thing which is a bit of a catch-22 when it comes to reading. You can read a book, but if you don't do anything from that book, if you don't take away anything and write notes, if you don't go apply it, if you don't exercise it, if you don't put it into action, then nothing will change. You can read a book. It doesn't necessarily mean you've just leveled up. It gives you new insight, it gives you new perspective, but once again, there's a chunk that we can take from whatever you've read and apply it to our lives and go execute on it and go learn and go grow. See what you can do from it. Or take notes and understand it, synthesize it, analyze it, learn it. You get my point. Take that and then regurgitate it. Take it out and share it to other people. That will help you learn it even better. The best way to learn something is to teach someone else. The next one is morning starts. Now, I'm not here to say you need to get up at 5 a.m. and have your special avocado latte or anything like that, but it's about setting the morning up so that you can win the day. Because if you win the morning, you can win the day. And I know it sounds a little fluffy, but it's so true. And if you're still not sure on this, I think the quickest thing that you can do every morning to ensure that you are going to feel great and to win the morning is to have gratitude. Be grateful for the day. Be grateful for what opportunity you have ahead of you. But for me, I love mornings. It's a chance for me to do my best stuff or to feel great because I can get out, go for a run, I can have some breakfast, maybe I might do a call, or maybe I've got something on and I'm excited to go and do that. But build a routine, build something into your mornings that enables you to hit the ground running and to kick the day off for a win. And I guarantee you, most successful people have a routine in the morning. That routine might not be the same as yours, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be the same as yours. You don't have to have the same routine as them. Put a routine in place, do what you need to do to help you win the morning. The next one is visualize and set clear intentions. Now, this one, look, we can go really deep into this, and I have spoken about different things in this area before on the podcast, but understand what is your game plan? What are you doing? How are you doing it? And actually do it, right? Visualize it, understand it, set the clear intention, set the focus, set the understanding of what you need to achieve today to get you further ahead to where you want to be. That's it. And set that focus time. Remove distractions and do it. Similar to this one is value your time. Be relentless with your schedule. Look, I know I can be so much better with my own schedule, and a lot of time it's because we get distracted. We jump onto social media, we go watch that, or we go talk to someone, or we have a phone call and we get distracted. Our schedules are important if you want to get to where you want to be, because that time is valuable for you. You can't get that time back. There are only so many hours within a day, and you need to spend that wisely. You need to spend it doing what you want. So I'm not saying you can't do any of those things that you're already doing. I'm just helping you understand that if you want something, then you have to spend the time to do it. So it means you're not going to be spending that time doing something else. The worst thing that we can be doing is playing catch up, because we burn so much energy trying to play catch up, because we're not just trying to do it physically, like actually doing the work. We're burning ourselves mentally. You're trying to do things quick, you're rushing, you're stressing, and it just overwhelms you. What you want to do is set up a schedule that enables productivity, and don't hinder that. Don't stuff that up. Get it so it's productive, get it into a flow, and get your groove. And then if you have a good schedule, you can have a schedule to enable you to play some video games, to watch Netflix, to do what you want to do when you want to do it. I think the key to this is staying disciplined, and when you stay disciplined with your time, it also makes unexpected issues or last minute fires, I guess, less stressful, because you're able to pivot more easily and take care of them. You can understand what wiggle room you have in your day. If you've scheduled out your day into blocks and you finish early, you get a bit more wiggle room, right? And you can then be a bit more flexible. Get yourself a routine, value your time, make it happen. Next one is eat breakfast. Now, breakfast is my favorite meal of the day. I'm not here to say that eat breakfast and you'll be successful, but what I'm trying to say is it sets you up in the morning for doing your best work. It sets you up with dealing with stress. Now, this kind of comes back to what we just spoke about winning the morning and having your best morning start, but I think breakfast is a key one, and a lot of productive people, or a lot of successful people, do have that into their routine. And once again, I just want to pause for a second, and I don't want to say that you do all these things and you will be successful and you will get ahead. What I'm trying to help you understand is that a lot of the time we see people ahead of us. We whether it's on social media, on YouTube, or wherever it may be, and naturally we just tend to think that, oh, these guys have it all figured out. These guys are doing everything. These guys make it look so easy. And they do, because they're doing the work. They're doing the things that enable them to show up and have those results. And a lot of the time, these are different areas in their lives that are just consistent. These things are very evident that are enabling them to be able to get out there, get it done, and continue to do the hard work daily, just doing it a lot more easier because they've got these things in place to enable them. Rant over, let's get back to it. The next one is focus, and focusing on one task at a time. When you zone out of everything else and just zone into the one thing that you need to focus on, the one thing that you need to get done, you will get things done so much easier and so much quicker and so much more productively. It's amazing and crazy of how that changes everything. And, put on some tunes, box yourself into an office or whatever it may be, and go do the crunch, do the work. You'll feel great about it. And that's the key, is having that pure focused time on one task at a time. I think a really important one, and maybe you don't expect this to come out, is being polite. Being polite with other people. When you talk to people, when you conversate with people, when you have those conversations, be polite. It goes a long way, and it will make a huge difference in enabling you to grow, because opportunities will come from having those polite conversations. People will remember you because you're polite. They might remember you if you're not polite, but they definitely won't be coming back and having a conversation with you either. So be polite. Always be learning, always be teaching, and always be sharing. This is what the people ahead of us are doing. They're helping you see that this is what I've been doing. This is what I've been doing. This is what I've been doing, right? And they share so much. And they talk about that they learn. They talk about that they're teaching. They talk about that they're trying to understand things better and always be learning. That's because no one is perfect. No one has all the information. No one has all the understanding. And I think it's really great, because here we are in our current situation, in our current little comfort zones, and we are looking ahead thinking, oh, why do they have it all figured out? And that's because, I come back to that point, is they're learning. They're teaching others. They're sharing their journey. They're doing things that are enabling them to get ahead. They're failing quickly. Once again, that's part of learning. That's experience. It's okay to fail. It's okay to stuff up. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to be slower than you expected. That's part of the learning process. We are literally seeing them at a point in time where they've done something more than what we've done, which enables them to be ahead of us. That is why they're ahead of us. Doesn't mean they're any more successful than you, because I guarantee you there is someone looking at you thinking, oh, gee, that person is so much more successful than me. Don't let that build your ego too high. All right, the next one is be present, be personal, and be thankful. I think people that are, that come across as successful, people that come across they've got it all figured out, or that seem ahead of us, they're present. They understand what they're trying to do. They're personal, and they are thankful, and they are grateful. Now, you might be thinking, that's not true, Chris. I know people that have everything, and they're not thankful. They're not grateful. That may be the case in hand. But what I'm trying to say to you is that people that are successful, or people that are coming across as more successful than you, is because they're doing something that has enabled them to be in that position. And the only way to do that is to be present in the moment and to be present in what they're doing. We spoke about it just before, being able to focus. If you can focus on something, it enables you to put all the attention there, which means you're going to be putting your 110% energy into it, which is usually going to be your best work. It's the same about being personal. And I don't mean take everything personally. What I'm saying is being personable. Being able to relate with people, being able to understand with people, being able to communicate with people, and being thankful. That in itself makes a huge difference in all that we do. When you have a conversation with someone, when you wake up in the morning, and how you have a perspective on the day, how you have a perspective of life. If you're positive, positive things will happen. If you're negative, negative things will happen. So I think all those areas all coming together as one single, crossover realm in some sense. I'm not trying to get spiritual or anything here. What I'm trying to say is that when you're present in the moment, when you're able to be aware of the people around you and how you're conversating with them, and when you are thankful and grateful and positive, it goes a long way. And that's why people do shine the way they do shine, is because in the moment, they're present, they're personable, and they're thankful. People that come across as more successful than you, or maybe that seem to be ahead of you, are also very curious critters. What I mean by that is you're not going to be able to change, you're not going to be able to grow, you're not going to be able to get a little bit further in life if you're not willing to be curious. And I'm not here to say that you need to go check out every little nook and cranny that pops up, meaning opportunity that pops up, but be curious, be willing to try new things, be willing to get outside of your comfort zone. And that is the best way to learn, because you're trying something new, you're outside of your comfort zone, and something might click. You might also fail, you might also not get the result you expected, but that experience enables you to grow quicker. And that's why curiosity will pay off. Kind of already touched on this one, but being grateful and optimistic. I think one thing about anything in life is how you perceive things is how you see things, right? And what I mean by that is if you're walking around and seeing all the negativity around you, and that's what you're really focusing your energy on, you're going to feel like a very negative soul. And you're going to not really enjoy everything that you're doing because there's so much negativity. But when you're positive, when you work with other people, when you're present in the moment, when you're personable, or you're a bit more personal with things, and when you're more grateful, things will be positive. And when things are positive, everything around you has that same kind of reflection or energy as well. It's crazy. I guarantee you, if you smile right now, how does that make you feel? Are you grateful for that smile? Is it sunny outside or is it raining outside? You can look at the rain as negative, or you can look at the rain as positive. You get to decide how that is. So I think being grateful and optimistic has a huge part to play in coming across of being successful or being ahead. Once again, this is all perspective. Just because someone's grateful does not mean they're more ahead of you, or does not mean that they're more successful than you. These are people that you're looking up to and thinking that they are more successful than you. These are the things that they're doing. The next one is they're doing something today to get them closer to their end game. And this one kind of plays back to a lot of the things we've been talking about, focusing on things and valuing their time. But, if they've got an end game, if they've got a goal, they need to be working towards it. And they are doing that daily. They're doing that every day, one thing that's going to get them closer to that, which kind of plays along with, they're ruthlessly prioritizing things every day. It might be one thing, it might be two things, it might be three things, but understanding what is the important win for today, what is the focus for today, what are the things that I need to get done today, and worry about the other fluff. We can have 15 priorities, but you're not going to get 15 things done. Focus on the 1, 2, 3 things that you can do and take them home as a win. That's what these people are doing. And the final point of what successful people are doing, or people that seem to be ahead of you, is hard work. And it's basically all the things we've just spoken about. Now hear me out, because all these things that we've just spoken about, these are all ways that we can be successful. These are all traits of being successful. These are all traits of things that people are doing that are enabling them to be successful. But on the contrary, you don't have to do all these things to be successful. You could do one of these things and you can be successful. Heck, you could probably not do any of these and still be successful. My point is, these things help us proceed forward. These things help us further our life. These things enable us to change the way we think, and these things enable us to do things differently. I guarantee you there will always be people ahead of us. Whether it's people that are, the people that we see in the media, such as Elon Musk. I mean, we're never going to be Elon Musk. I mean, he's an outlier in the entirety of the world. But there's people that you are comparing yourself to. The peers, the people in your circles, and, the people that you watch and you think, oh, they're just out of reach, but how do they make it look so easy? I know, because I do it myself, and it's hard. It's hard. The key to success is really just doing a lot of small steps daily over a long period of time. And you got to combine that with the whole mentality of this. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten, right? And it's that simple. If you're not willing to do something different, if you're not willing to spice it up, if you're not willing to change something, if you're not willing to do the extra hard work, then nothing will change. So answer me this. What is your intention for today? What are you going to do? What do you know you need to do that's going to help you be successful, or like these other people? And I'm putting that in air quotation marks of being successful, because I don't think you should let someone else define what your success is. You're successful. As I said, we went through that process at the start of looking back a year ago. What were you doing? Where were you? How were things in your life? Compare it to now. What has changed between now and then? What have you been doing to get to where you are today? Those are the things that you need to keep doing, but moving them towards your next goal, to your next milestone, to the next thing that you want to achieve. We're more than capable of doing all these things. And as I said, there's always going to be someone ahead of you, just like you're always ahead of someone else. There's always someone looking up to you thinking, how is that person doing this? You make it look so easy. Don't take that for granted. If people need help, share. Help. Be personal. Be friendly. Be grateful in that sense. Don't take it for granted. But when it does come to comparing to someone else, only compare to yourself, because you're the only one that is the same as you. So we'll finish with this. This is really interesting, right? We asked the question of, so why are other people more successful than us? Well, I'd like to say they're not, but let's say they are, right? And it's because they're doing the work. That's as blunt as it is. But I guarantee you, if you take a little pin and drop it in where they are in their current timeline. So let's say someone, we'll just use business for example. Let's say someone's earning $1,000 a day in their business, and you're doing $600 a day in your business, right? What I want you to do is you're going to have to do the work to get there. Do the work and get to the $1,000, right? Understand how long did that take, right? Reflect back on what did you do to get that $1,000. Now, while you've gotten to that $1,000 milestone, you're doing $1,000 per day each day now, go have a look and see what that other person is doing. Now, they're either doing more, they're doing the same, or they're doing less. They're exactly the same as you. It just so happens that they were further ahead of you at that point in time because of what they've been doing. That doesn't mean they will always be better than you. They might continue to be better than you because they're continuing to better what they're doing, right? And that's what you need to do too. Just get out there, set some intention, and go do the hard work. Just do it. Like, I'm serious. Like that, it is that simple, right? It's going to take time, so you just need to use your time more wisely. It's going to take time to do these things, right? But that's why I think it's interesting. If you can have a look at what it is that someone else is doing that you wish you could be doing, put a little pin in it in that timeline. Now do the work to get there. Understand what you did between that, and you've done it. That's all they're doing, right? Is they're doing the next level of work to get to where they want to be. And it will take time. I've just repeated myself so many times. Really do appreciate you being here. Look, if this has resonated with you, I'm happy to continue the conversation. You can reach out to me on my socials, leave a comment, or drop me an email or anything like that. More than happy to continue the conversation. If this episode resonated with you and you think someone else could, take a win from this, they need to hear it, or maybe you want to make sure they do hear it, send it to them. share it with them. But make sure you tell them why you're doing it. Don't just send them something out of the blue, but share with them why you think this episode might help them. So really do appreciate you being here. It's been an absolute pleasure to have the conversation with you, and you have a wonderful day. Cheers. Now, if you didn't know, we do have the podcast merch, and this is with a key focus of enamel pins. Now, if you haven't checked these out, make sure you do, because the intent of these are really just to be a small token and a reminder for you to charge on, to push on, and to further your lifestyle. Whether it is a gift for someone else to encourage them, or maybe to inspire them, or maybe it's a way to motivate yourself, or you can simply just make a purchase to simply support the podcast, which would be greatly appreciated. We do also have some sweaters and some long tees, so make sure you check it out. Link in the description and in the show notes. Really do appreciate it. Cheers.